Your Northwestern State football coach, Blaine McCorkle, as the Demons get ready for spring practice on Tuesday. Coach, the whistle's back. It means season's here. And I know for one, are you any more fired up for spring practice this year than you were last year?
Oh, sure, yeah, because, going into year two, you have a little bit more of an idea of what to expect. Last year's spring practice was such an unknown. We were still making sure we knew everybody's names this time last year. And the roster is a lot different than it was. We've had a lot more time invested through a summer, through a season, through a winter, and now going into a second spring that they know us, we know them, and we kind of know what to expect. So I think it will look and sound a whole lot different than it did this time last year. So our staff's excited about that. I think our players are excited about that, and we're ready to go.
With that, do your expectations change for a spring?
Absolutely. The longer you're in a program, the expectations and the standards constantly go up, and that's one thing we tell our players. I think last year was such a culture shock for a lot of these kids because what we did was so drastically different maybe than what they were used to in terms of expectations and standards and style of play that it shocked their system. But the longer we go, the harder it's going to get, because what we're trying to do is brutally hard, and there's nothing easy about that. So last year is probably the easiest spring practice that these guys will ever experience.
For you guys, again, it's spring, so there are some mid-year guys that come in. So you have your returners, but you're also folding some new guys in there for the first time to see how they fit.
Yeah, we've got 9 new guys on the roster that weren't there at the end of fall, and they've all had a really, really good winter, and we're bringing them in here to make an impact. You don't bring transfers in to sit the bench and back people up. So we're expecting those guys to show up ready to work, and I think they will. And they're going to have to compete. They're going to have to earn everything that they get. But we're excited about what we've seen those guys do so far this winter. It's a good mix of guys on the offensive and defensive side of the ball that hopefully can come in here and get to work in a hurry.
You guys will open on Tuesday, but you'll go all the way through April 26th in the Joe Delaney Bowl, so it's a little ways away. But 100,000-foot view, what makes Blaine McCorkle happy on April 26th?
Well, I think when we're all said and done, you want to come out of it healthy for sure, and I feel like we will because I think our bodies are in a better place. One thing that April 26th is a long way away, but on day one, what I'm excited about is seeing our bodies out there. The things that we've done in the weight room this winter with Coach Smelser are phenomenal. Maybe as big of numerical, statistical improvements as I've ever seen. I mean, we're up, close to 70 pounds per man on the squat. Our average body is bigger, and there's a million numbers I could go through right now of how we've improved our bodies, our size, our strength, our speed, our explosion. So I'm excited to see what the bodies look like out there day one tomorrow and how that maintains throughout the course of the spring. One of the reasons that we're starting tomorrow, I think we're the last team in the Southland to start spring practice. Everybody else has been in for a week or two. 2 reasons. I didn't want to split it this year with spring break, and our spring break's a little bit later. I wanted that steady, maintained, consistent work without the break in there to keep the guys focused and locked in. And I wanted to give Coach Smelser a little bit more time in the weight room this year. That it's no secret that we were smaller and weaker than everybody we played last year. We kind of made up for it by also being slower, So our bodies were nowhere near what we played in our competition, so we had to get that right. We had to address that, and I think we've done a really, really good job making that better. So those are the things that I think big picture I'm excited about, and always the things, you want to stay healthy, you want to develop some depth, you want to see the new bodies, you want to do all those things, but I think if we do those things, we'll come out April 26th with a really confident football team that's ready to attack the summer, and fall will be here before you know it.
You mentioned starting after spring break. Do you like the fact also that it's a bit of a compacted time frame in the sense that you're going to start on April 1st and finish 25 days later with 15 practices? So it's very much almost like a regular season schedule.
Yeah, you do. It's basically your preseason is what it is. It's an abbreviated version of your preseason. And anytime you have to split spring practice over spring break, it just makes it really tough when you come back because you kind of have to start back to square one because that's a 9-day break that you kind of have to reteach and recondition. The bodies take a little break over that. Hopefully they don't. The guys are smart, mature, and handle their business. But it is nice to do it all in one shot without the break for sure.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time.
Thank you.